Welcome, one and all, to Everyman for Everyone, the show where we develop and talk about the idea of our new Everyman format we refer to as the Everyman Project. Those unfamiliar, the Everyman Project is a format of HeroClix meant to be played in Modern, and it's basically played with just common figures and fast force figures. So that's kind of our goal here, and we're still in the midst of development of the format. So much so to the point that originally, when we first idealized the format and got this episode up on the air, we started with a Google Doc, which was not. It's not sustainable. It's not going to happen. If I have to keep creating a PDF, I was going to lose my mind. So what we've done, we've been sitting on a WordPress for years, and it's time for us to use it. So if you actually check in the description down below, or you're in the live show right now, I put a link in the chat for you guys to actually look at our new web presence. It's at marriedwithclicksbattlereport.wordpress.com, and you can click on the Everyman Project link as well, and it'll take you directly to that article. And this will be our one home, our one place where we will maintain this article. And it's very easy to get to this now instead of trying to hunt down the PDF that I've made. So it kind of looks a lot like this. Look at the wonderful job Amber has done setting all of this up. It's such a thing of beauty. She's been doing such good work on the channel lately, with new title cards, picking out great music from the YouTube generic music selection. So big kudos to her. And of course, the Everyman Project is now underway, as it were. Several players have approached me in regards to some questions about the rules. And the easiest one for me right now to answer is legality. It's like, or the one I get the most is like, is this figure legal? Is this legal? Oh, and somebody turned to me. It's like, oh, I'm so excited that this format doesn't use ID cards. Like, it does, but it doesn't really use them because there's 4 or 5 useful ID card, or sorry, 4 or 5 usable ID cards in the entire format. As 5 of them have common figures which can be called in. Now that may change in X-Men Adventures, which is why I still keep all of the ID cards as legal. It's kind of that blanket statement. It's easier to make the blanket statement for things than it is to try to address the individual issues. It's also why we're not planning on creating any sort of a ban list at all, unless we get something Faustian, as I like to call it. Anything on the level of Mr. Felix Faust will be unacceptable for the format, and that's where we'll sort of draw the line. And I don't foresee that occurring at the common level. So that's why I don't have a list of banned figures, etc., and so on. I still stand by fast forces and starters, and I want to make, like, a lot of people have said, hey, why not primes, and why not this, and why not that? There's a reason I've selected the commons, the fast forces, and the starters. And that is availability. If you buy a starter set, you get all the figures that are in that starter set. If you buy a fast forces, you get all the figures that are in that starter set, fast forces, and so on. And generally, when you buy a brick of figures, you can generally expect to get all of the commons, though we ourselves have actually been victim of one missing common in our most recent brick, but that's okay. That's one missing common, and I'm not going to lose my mind about it because, 1, I'm going to be buying another brick anyway. 2, I can easily acquire a common figure with little to no effort. That's the beauty of this format, is even if you don't have a common X figure, it should be easy enough to get. Now, the danger of this format as a whole is that if it does start to pick up steam, people are going to be purchasing the good commons for that. That's an unavoidable side effect of this kind of play if this format picks up steam. We have yet to receive much in the way of battle reports or tournament reports. We would appreciate if you do run a tournament with this format. I do want to stress, with this written format, please, because I don't want to hear about your all-common tournament, but we didn't allow fast forces. That doesn't give me any information, because this is the format where I'm trying to kind of push and salvage and create, as it were. And I know it sounds a little mean and a little bit self-centered, but unfortunately this is the information we're trying to get. And I mean, if we decide that for some reason Fast Forces and starter sets need to go, then we can make that decision. But I don't feel like they have to. If anything, I think stores should be ordering more if this starts to pick up steam. So, with that said, that's the paperwork level. So we've talked about the format itself, and that's how we maintain it, new questions that might come up here and there. I don't, as far as interactions, most interactions will follow the rules of HeroClix, so I don't foresee that particular element being a thing to worry about. But I do want to get into, because it's one thing to introduce a format, it's another thing to start the conversation about the format itself and making it, what's the word I'm looking for, living, to give it life, to talk about stratagem, as it were. And to do that, I want to start at the very beginning, the figure everyone fears, and I want to build a team around it, and I want everybody to just accept that this figure exists, and that is Cable. Whenever I talk about this format, this is the first figure people talk about, and that is Cable. Cable is 120 points with some special powers we'll get into in a second. 7 range, X-Men team ability comes at 120 points. He's indomitable. Armor, Future, New Mutant, 6-pack, Soldier, X-Force, and X-Men keywords. It's a mouthful of keywords, to say the least. He's got improved movement, ignores hindering, and he's got a trait where Cable can use stealth. He's got a special movement power on the 1st, 4th, and 7th click of his dial. Cable can use phasing teleport. When he does and moves 5 squares or less, that's a set number, 5 squares or less, so it doesn't matter what his active phasing teleport movement is. He may make a close or ranged attack. Note that you will not be able to use his energy explosion or psychic blast when doing so. And then he's got a special defense power on his first 3 clicks. Techno-organic body and telekinetic shield. Cable can use invulnerability. When Cable has less than 2 action tokens, he can use energy shield deflection. This is a potent figure, yes. It is a tough figure, yes. That is allowed to exist. Because you cannot turn around and say, I want to make a format of figures that everybody has, and then turn around and realize that we have a strong figure in this format and go, well, we can't let this strong figure who doesn't see play anywhere else in the world not see play in this. And sealed is not, an equivalent, it's a false equivalency, because sealed, it only happens when you pull those 2 packs. I'm talking about a format where you can always be Cable comes out of my box, Cable goes on my board kind of situation. So that said, let's build a team around Cable, because this is going to be a threat. Let's create the first threat of the format. Now there's a couple things to pay attention to. What are we lacking? Well, not much. We are lacking right now Outwit and Perplex, so modifiers, to say the least. Those are always those things you start off with missing. And what else are we missing? 180 points of a 300-point team. Now, I want to focus in the 300-point realm for this, because I want this to be a competitive format. I want people to try hard when playing in the Everyman format. So I'm going to focus first on an X-Force team. Why? Because I think there's a lot of figures that we don't see enough of as an X-Force team. And Cable doesn't have to be the only prober on our team, right? The first thing that comes to mind, of course, is the Fast Forces Domino. Now, she's playable at 75 points or 25 points. Now, 25 points, she is strictly 2 clicks of probability control and then 1 click of please don't kill me. That's what you're getting out of this is the Fast Forces Domino. This is not a bad figure by any means. She's also got her own 7 range, which means she's got a higher than average probability control, because probability control is minimum 6. She has 7. There we go. Not a bad output. Her defense is low, but it is subsidized, as it were, by super senses. So we're gonna put her in the stack of figures that are possible. There are some more. Whoops, excuse me. There's some more wow, there isn't as many X-Force figures as I thought there was. Whoa! All right, so we have this Wolverine, 70 points of consideration. Look at this dial. look at this dial and barf. There's a lot of dial on this 70-point figure. Oh my goodness. We'll put him in the pile. I'm going to create just a pile of all the figures, basically. You Go Girl, 40 points. Headline tokens, but she's also a taxi. She can carry up to 4 figures. Friendly characters share a keyword with her, ignoring their speed symbols. Important element that could possibly go. And greetings, hola, in Mexico. Appreciate your enjoyment. If you run any tournaments with it, let me know. We want as much information as we can about this. All right, so we also have a Deadpool. And what else do we have? We have this Phantom X from the Fast Forces, also very good. This is the one I think that makes, this is the one that makes an Eva bystander that can pop out. And I don't remember what this Eva bystander does, but I believe it's like the old one and has outwit. This is just another cable, should you choose. So there's an option. It's just this is not going to be a legal figure because that's not modern. I believe. Yeah, there's a Psylocke as well. She's got stealth and mind control to range 7. Also very really reasonable. So that's one of the keywords we can work around. And like if we just kind of add to it, what is this dead? So we can go at 50 or not. Domino, Wolverine is pretty good, but I believe Wolverine gets late dial Battle Fury. He's going to take a couple shots on the way in, so I don't think he's really going to work the way we want him to. I think Phantom X might be a better outlook. And we might not even need the You Go Girl because Phantom X ignores elevated terrain for movement. He'll also have Eva flying around with him, and I believe she is standard size as far as like she is not a standard character, but she is a regular size character. I'll have to look that up in a second. So we still have 80 points with which to fool around with. We go back. I keep going back to this Wolverine. Like maybe. Yeah, you know what? Let's add this Wolverine. Let's just do it. Now I'm gonna do a quick double check just to be sure. Actually, what I want to do, so I want to whip up this Deadpool and the X-Force. There's 2 Fast Forces that came with this set. So here we go. Eva, standard size. While Phantom X makes an attack and Eva has line of fire to the target, modified defense by -1. But she is standard size. She does have a wit and she does super sense. So. Yeah, that's going to be coming from the Phantom X. So I can put this as another consideration. And look at that. We've got a fairly strong common team. None of these figures are extremely expensive. 2 of them come from the Fast Forces and 2 of them come from the main set. So we'll knock this as Cable version 1.0. There's many possibilities with this figure, as I said, and that's just on the theme team realm. I mean, we're going to address just theme teams so far, and then maybe we'll kind of dilly-dally and poke our way in through other possibilities, just including all the figures from the format. So let's drop all the figures. We go back down to Cable. We're going to take Cable, and we're going to go back to the advanced search, actually. I'm going to zoom out a little because this is not working for the way I thought it would. We'll go back to our common rarity. Common. And we go now. We're going to go X-Men because that was another one that he had. And that's another one that could possibly use that X-Men team ability. Because using the X-Men team ability can most certainly go a long way towards healing him, which is another thing. When we had those 10 points left over on the previous team, it might be worth a consideration of throwing a couple of the student IDs on just for the sole fact of either some utility or some of the X-Men team ability nonsense. Call on a character, use the X-Men team ability. So, oh, look at this. This is where things can get a little wacky because we have the common headmaster in Moira McTaggart. And that adds not only the X-Men team ability I believe she has, but it also adds Perplex to X-Men. It adds leadership to our team, and it will also add one of the student IDs to the team of the 5 usable ones. So that is a possibility. Kevin, we will look at that on the way out because I do want to try to say, hey, let's do a goofy thing on the way out of most episodes. So Moira, I think, will be a solid call. There's the Cuckoos. as a consideration, they're okay. Frustrating to deal with, I know that much. Because of those, I think they all have like a last click, stop click, which also leads to charge. And I think Mindy and Phoebe might be the best ones because they also get some Battle Fury to go with it. Impervious on that, impervious, and impervious as on a stop click. Yeah, I mean, and then from here you kind of decide what do we need. It might almost be worth it to go all three. That's an option. And then throw in one more ID card that you actually pay for. Maybe a Husk or a Artie. Very possible options. When it comes to like you have the 5 ID choices that you can really use in the format. I'm not going to mull my brain around the best possible outcomes. That's something you can probably work your way around as a player yourself. I can't do everything. I don't want to do everything in that manner because I want to give you guys a little bit. I just kind of want to nudge you in the right direction. Also worth noting, we use ex-students or ex-trainees to bulk up our team. Ex-trainees can add a little bit more offensive base out of it. The ex-students seem to be a little bit more support based. It's support in the direct sense. Like you can, if you feel like you need to put support on your team, you can get that. If you feel like you need TK on your team, you can get that. It's just a small investment of 25 points. And then there is some, but this is more low-key alternatives to, some more slightly offensive options that you can get. I don't want to discount this Mystique as a figure to possibly be paired up with the Cable. I'd actually go through my Cuckoo Swarm here. Mind Control might not be an ideal one. Actually, they're all going to have Mind Control, aren't they? That was a stupid statement by me. I feel like Celeste is kind of the weak point. But they also, you see, the thing is they also all bring Perplex of their own. And they can only use it on themselves, but then they still become good. We saw the Perplex from Moira McTaggart. We are sitting on a theme team, so we have lots of prob going for us. I feel like there's potential in the Cuckoos with Cable. Who's Cuckoo for Cable? Now, if we ditch the Cuckoos, we go a different direction. I'd still stick with Moira McTaggart, personally, on the matter. But, I mean, there's things like Marvel Girl can be added in. If this character's first attack and hits friendly character with the X-Men keyword, modify range by +1, which is cool. But then there's also Cyclops, who increases damage. That could go fairly well for you. We cannot forget that Hellion is very much an option, especially once you get into bigger teams. But I don't think Cable is a guy who needs Hellion, personally. Mystique, like I said, is a good blocking figure. Uses her face to block other people, gets in their face, and then becomes really hard to deal with. Deadpool and the X-Force does have a couple things like we discussed. Inset Wolverine, Inset Cable. Anole, I'm not sold on him. I'm not completely sold on him. He's got regen. He's tough to keep down, but he can be focus fired enough at a decent enough range. Though at the same time, you're focus firing 30 points. Like I'm being what I hate, and that is poo-pooing something already awesome. Okay, so go back to Cable. All right, so what can we readdress here? We can go back to another keyword, future. And this is where things start to get a little crazy. Because once you start building theme teams with generic keywords, you'll start to see that your options start to open up in spite of the fact that the utility that you get as far as the probability control goes down. So you get your map choice, you get your initiative bonus. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at the future keyword in modern. Rarity is common only. And keyword is future. Future. Search. Okay. Not as much here, but there is somebody. The other figure people talk about. Batman Beyond. What's also important to mention about the Batman Beyond is that, also want to point out this World's Finest Booster Gold, not in the format because World's Finest is not legal in the format. But this Batman Beyond, he's got the shape change, He's got the ignore hindering. He's got 6 range. He's got the high movement. He's got the indomitable. Like this is a double whammy of oof, and they both share a keyword that is ridiculous. Now I don't want to discount Iron Lad either. He's got some potential, but he's also 100 points, can't fit on the team. Hercules 100 points, can't fit on the team. Future starts to look a little bit. Oh, hey, Kevin, remember this character? You were talking about her. Doesn't fit in, unfortunately. But I feel like we are missing out on some kind of a fast force option. So I want to take a quick dig because HC Realms doesn't necessarily catch them all. Now, I don't think any of the characters in this one are likely to have it, but I do believe we could get something out of the Ninja Turtles, but I might be full of crap too. So what we'll do, in fact, advanced search, modern age only, any rarity. Let's go. I believe Fast Force is it's its own rarity. And then we just we'll go any keyword and we'll go future. Now we might actually just end up with a big old womp womp on this one, which we did. And you see we kind of run into that problem. But let's just take another peek at Elseworld just in case. Oh, there's starter set rarity we have to check too. So let's do that. Modern Age rarity is starter set. Trust me, use these tools, guys. They're super important for you. Let's check out future. I didn't rehearse this particular part because this team kind of... All right, no. All right, so future isn't really... I mean, for cable. It's not there for cable. I mean, who's going to say no to 3 Batman Beyonds? That's a possibility, too. Go for it. All the love to you. I had to play against 2 of those in Sealed. It was not fun to attempt to beat. I had to use a super rare to do it, so I'll tell you something. Okay, so we go back to cable. We're back at cable. I don't think New Mutants is going to come up, but Soldier, we'll check it. We'll check it. Actually, let's just do it now. Modern Age. Commons. Modern Age only. Keyword is New Mutant. And I just realized I'm starting to think of a character who this is. Oh, but he's an uncommon. Darn. See? See? You get hope and then you get nothing. Rusty and Skids are options if you want to run New Mutants. Artie, Anole, Rusty and Skids, and Cable. That's all you get for commons with New Mutants. So, Chameleon from the... Okay, so just a heads up, Hydra King. Chameleon from the Spider-Man set, really cool figure, but he's not going to be. We're just not going to be a figure we talk about in this because today we're just focusing on commons and fast forces for the specific format that we're kind of pushing with this show. So I hope that quick answer helped you out there. All right, so we go back to Cable. We have to look at the Soldier because I'm not looking at 6-pack. We're kidding ourselves if we think that even happened. Soldier. We need common first, and then we need the keyword Soldier. And I think this is where things start to open up again. I also want to point out that we're making this in absence of the Battle World set. And what I'm going to do my figure-by-figure review tonight to film, and it should be up tomorrow. It's going to be good for this format. Let me tell you, there's a cool team I did not see coming. All right, so what do we have with Soldier? We have the Rock Soldiers. They're okay. The Foot Soldier, ooh, the Axe and Boomerang Foot Soldiers are both common, and they both fit into our format. Swarm at the screen edge. When Foot Soldier would be KO'd, roll D6. Add the number of other friendly characters KO'd this turn. If the total is 5 or more, instead, turn this character to click number 1 and place it in your starting area. He's got 2D movement, which gives him sidestep. When Foot Soldier uses it, it can only be in a direct path. Axe, Fangs, and Claws. Foot Soldier attacks rolls of 11 and 12 are critical hits. Oh, really cool. We get the Boomerang. A Boomerang. It's this throwing stick idea of yours really boomerang, don't you? Hydra King. The Mighty Thor starter will fall into the format as starter sets and fast forces fall into this format as well. If you check in the description, I put a link to where we've placed the idea of this format or this format of play of HeroClix. And it kind of has all the rules for it very, very kind of laid out there. So the Boomerang has the same trait, the same 2D movement with sidestep. But when he would miss a range attack by 1 or 2 once per turn, you may re-roll the attack roll. Not awful, but not the worst. So yeah, there's some options. And then Triceratons. Now these things are up for consideration. They have Running Shot, Psychic Blast on their first click. They lose out on that on later clicks, but they've also got this extremely tough high defense power. Triceratron can use toughness and takes a maximum of 2 damage from attacks. Why not put 1 or 2 of those on the team? The Hatsutsurazi, I think these are underrated. And I think these could actually do fairly well in our format here. Because they have a 6 range with range combat expert. They come with sidestep and stealth. They have, as part of their movement power, which also includes improved movement, ignore elevated terrain, but only to move to a lower elevation. And then they got the special defense power, vibranium, microwave mesh, toughness, impervious, but only when targeted by a range attack. So they're really, really protected at range. I think these are up for consideration. Oh, the Punisher. I mean, Punisher was a soldier. And we have these generic Punisher squad dudes. Oh, the shield team ability. Not so bad. We have this 50-point Punisher who's part of the shifting focus. This is the only figure of the shifting focus you'll be able to use in the format. But he's a big group crusher. We also have the Avengers Defenders War. Captain America at 50 points. Oh, dude, this guy. Leadership, but succeeds on a 4 to 6. When he does, on a result of 6, you may also remove an action token from each friendly character with the Avengers keyword within range. This is going to be a guy who's really good in the format as long as Avengers Defenders War is legal. Also, we go to the Fast Forces for Avengers Defenders War, and we have, look at this. Look at this Punisher. Wow. And if he damages 1 or more opposing characters with an attack after action resolved, you can heal him. So he's 75 points. I like this guy for the team for sure. And I believe Guardians of the Galaxy 2, yeah, is still legal because Deadpool was pulling X-Force. We get as far as Civil War for Soldier, then we cut off at X-Men. I mean, we got the Cable already. Solo at 50 points. Look at this guy. This is a 50-point dial. And this is one of the Fast Force. This is the Fast Force Solo. This Fast Force is this the Heroes for Mercs for Money is another one to keep your eye on. Grizzly. Don't sleep on this guy in this format. And we're just going through Soldier. I haven't even started adding figures because there's so much going on. Dark Deadpool, I'd almost add him instantaneously because stealth and that special move power is really good. We haven't even touched DC. DC has soldiers. Paul Kirk, the Manhunter. This is just a solid dial for 50 points. This figure is 15 points. 15 points for this guy. Cobra Fanatics, the potential on this is huge. Rick Flag Jr., not a terrible option. This Superman Wonder Woman is not going to be legal for the format. Nick Fury, like I said, isn't. But the 125. I don't know. No, this is not going to be legal. Storyline, Captain America. Whew, this is a good figure. Also, Ms. Marvel, super strength with charge. I won't go wrong with that. Running shot with Psychic Blast, also fine. Late dial, Pulse Wave, 80 points, sure. Captain America. I mean, the soldier is probably the most open keyword to this. So, okay. Sorry, I was just kind of staring at a chat comment. So I'm gonna go to my face here, and I'm gonna address that now. And this is in Domino TV. We are running the X-Men Summer event in our local store, and we're thinking of using the format with the new expansion, Secret Wars Battle World. What do you think about it? Do it, because I've already, like, my sneak peek at the comments that I've had. There is these comments could shake up this thing's meta game for sure. There's a lot of like, wait, that's a common reactions that I had, and I feel like this the Secret Wars Battle World for this. I'm gonna actually next week do an episode where I cover all of the commons specifically and their effect. The effect I think they're going to have on this game's or this format's metagame, because this format has its own metagame that's going to be vastly different from anything else that you think about. And when you see like that Chase Doctor Strange, that doesn't factor in, right? The super rare Witch Queen LeFay does not factor for this format. But when something like Sheriff Steve Rogers starts getting factored in, that's when we're talking. And that figure blows my mind. And I think there's Captain America with like 12 attack and the ability to choose charge or close combat expert or running shot. Like, whew. I think, in fact, if you run it with the Secret Wars Battle World, you will see quite the awesome result. So that's what I'm calling. I'm calling it that way. If yeah, do it. I mean, also, please send me results at marriedwithclicks@gmail.com. I want to see results from this. I kind of want to know teams. If you don't have the ability to send me all the details, give me a quick rundown of what, like, you'd say the top 4 teams were, what the most interesting team that you saw was, and so on and so forth. Just make sure you're running it in Modern, making sure you're running it with this. If you're not running with this format, the information is no good to me, because I'm trying to build this format, not your format. Okay, so yeah, Cable is definitely Cable isn't just strong. It's kind of where which is the conclusion we can take from this. He's not just strong; he is flexible in the format, and that is, I think, a big key that makes him draw a lot of attention. Now, another thing we can consider when we're dealing with this Cable is just we could take the format and start adding things to just focus on making him great. Adding some perplex. There's tons of perplex in the format. There's tons of enhancement. There's tons of, like, the Hydra team ability I think might actually get used in this format. PD team ability might get used. PDA team, especially once Secret Wars and Secret Wars Battle World comes out, because the Cowboys have the PD team ability. It's the Thors have PD team ability. It's exciting, the prospect of it, and that's why I love the idea of this monumentally, and I want it to catch on, but like I keep trying to kind of push this part of it, is I do not want it to replace the current any of the current competitive formats. I want it to be a new one that we add on, and I kind of like this format when it comes to a big prize at a local store. So here's how it goes. Start the show. Here's the paperwork. Here's the discussions that I've had in regards to the format, and answer the questions. Like, ask out loud and answer the questions for you guys at the beginning of the show. So you guys kind of, it's that situation where it's like, if somebody has a question, somebody else is bound to ask the same question. So it's better for me to answer that on this show. Then the second part will be, let's talk about a figure that people are talking about. And this week we focused on Cable. Next week we'll focus on Batman Beyond, though I think the conversation on that was a little shorter. So I do want to take a moment when we talk about the Batman Beyond to also discuss the starter set Loki from Mighty Thor, because that dude is, that dude. How many times can I say that dude before you guys are sick of me saying it? That's the real question. So I think that next week we're going to cover that in a double episode. But on the way out here, I do want, folks to just understand that I'm not here. This is my preaching corner here. I'm not here to change the way competitive play works. I think the way we have competitive play is great, but I do believe it would be great to have a third format, because we know we have Modern, and we know we have other formats out there, such as the Rock Age format that is becoming very popular. I feel like this is a third format that I want to play in the shadows of these. I do not want this to become a main event format. I do want this to become a side event format, but I also want the prizes for this format to be exceptional on a local event, because on a local event, when the story goes, and I'm going to probably going to end up telling the story on every episode. I ran an event for Brick with this format, and people showed up because I put a brick on the line. And what's more is nobody who was there had any excuses. There was no, oh, his team was like $300 worth of figures. Didn't hear that, because they're all comments. Oh, this guy had X broken figure. Why didn't you have X broken figure? Good point. It shuts down the complaining, and I do like being able to do that every so often, because what you'll also find, and I do stress this part enough, is that you'll see that the same players who are winning big on the big scale still win in this format too, because they're just good players. And I think that's it's an intended side effect of this. In addition to which, I want to let players take that bin of comments and give it some value, because God knows how many times you're like, oh great, another cable, and you don't even look at it in the pack. You're looking for the rare and the super rare in the pack, and I want there to be like that. I pulled another cable. I want to possibly do what Jason is about to do here and add a second cable to his team. I can add 60 points to this, and this team is still maybe only $150. You know what I mean? Like I can add 2 more McTaggarts to this, and I'm at 290. I've also got 2 of the whatever ID cards you want to put on this. I mean, you could almost make it so that all 5 ID cards get on this if you so chose, right? And whatever, man. The team wasn't expensive. It's just what it is, right? So, intent or story, show, intent. That's this week in Everyman for Everyone. I want to thank everybody who's watching live. I want to thank everybody who's watching in the archives. I'm really hoping that we can get a lot of legs behind the format itself. And I really hope that if anybody runs an event this week, please email me observations at marriedwithclix@gmail.com. Just put Everyman format in the subject line so that I can really catch these and kind of start to digest it, because I will take results and actually discuss your results. I will talk about your tournament, talk about the formation of this metagame as it evolves. And I think it's very healthy for, especially on an international scale, as Indomito TV is putting up. He's playing in Mexico, and I've heard local, or not so local, but one of our fans in the Bahamas was really interested in the format and really wanted to take it off. You have my permission. You have the format in the description below. All I'm asking you guys to do is tell me how it goes, and I will add a part of this show where I will discuss your event and discuss how it shapes this game. So, or this mode in the game, as it were. So, on that note, once again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for checking us out in the archive. I want to thank our sponsors over at MajesticCCG.com. Check out MajesticCCG.com/ApexInsiders for brain dumps from some of the great players in the game of HeroClix. Also, check out my most recent article. This is on MajesticCCG.com. You don't even have to be an Apex Insiders for this. I put my predictions on what the first WWE HeroClix set is going to look like. You might be surprised what my thoughts are. And whether or not I'm going to be right. Do you think I'm going to be right? It doesn't matter what you think. I had to go WWE on you for that one. As well, I want to thank our sponsors at patreon.com/marriedwithclix, our supporters rather, at patreon.com/marriedwithclix. Any evaluation at patreon.com/marriedwithclix will get you access to our patron Discord, as well as our patron hangout, which this month will be October 14th, as this weekend is Canadian Thanksgiving, and I think we've said it 1,000 times, me and Amber have wrestling tickets. So we're going to go enjoy that on the Sunday, and so the Sunday thereafter, we will patron you guys up for sure. So without further ado, guys, when everyone's special, no one's special. Here we are signing out for the Everyman Project. I owe somebody something before we completely sign out. A little bit of an Easter egg port to the episode. Let's go to HC Realms, shall we? One of our fans, delightfully in the chat, mentioned he wanted to do a DDD swarm. There you go. 270 points you can get. Good luck. For those of you unfamiliar, DD, improved movement, ignores hindering characters. After you, DD is her special movement power. Sidestep, passenger 1, but only to carry characters named DD. Modify attack +1 if adjacent to another friendly character named DD. Special damage power. Thanks, DD. Power, shape change, but only if adjacent to a friendly character named DD. Have a good night, everybody.
I will play that team.